What up YouTube, TK here, and today we have a stricken Honda Civic will not start immobilizer problem. I'm gonna see just how quickly I can rip an alarm out of this thing and get it back on the road. Let's see how we go. So straight away, looking under the hood, first thing we notice is this ugly motherfucker. That is proof that there is an aftermarket car alarm installed. When I jiggled this, it was all hanging off loose. I could hear it crackling. Hallmarks of a terrible install. We can see leads come off this, run all the way along the back of the firewall and through that grommet into the passenger area, so we know where to look for the alarm. So we pulled the dash off, and underneath, what do we see? Electrical tape, hallmarks of a dodgy install. They will always be dodgy. It's just some of them hide it better than others. We can see there's two relays there. That is probably what's cutting our signal to the starter motor. If you've seen my previous video, all we got to do is bypass these relays and we're up and running. We're gonna give it a go. All right, let's cut this horrible thing free. There we go. Look at that, nice and easy. That's a dirty alarm if ever I saw one. These things are horrible, and this one's been installed, believe it or not, with spade connectors, so hopefully shouldn't be too hard to troubleshoot. What we have here is a Thai Sonics alarm, and you can see they've used beautiful Nitto electrical tape. So that's the good stuff as far as electrical tape goes. So, you know, the install wasn't that bad, lol jokes. And then we have our two relays. Now these will be what's used to basically cut lines that the engine needs to run. If we restore those cut lines, the alarm won't be able to interfere with them and the car should start, assuming this is why the car isn't starting, but I have a strong feeling. Sometimes it feels a little bit like defusing a bomb. We're just going to trace the lines from each relay and try and repair them and hope that works for us. Okay, so I've found the problem. This wire, this black and yellow wire, is supposed to go to the ignition switch. However, it has been cut, redirected down these wires, and then sent back out down these. If you follow those back, they go to Mr. Alarm Box. If we reconnect that black wire to itself and bypass the two relays, the alarm should be gone for good. Fingers crossed. We're gonna give it a go. Okay, so what I've learned today is this is completely different from my previous car alarm video. Those two relays we've been looking at from the beginning, there's something to do with the power door locks. They have nothing to do with the alarm's ability to actually cut the engine. However, what I said about splicing signals was the key. Let me show you. All right, I already showed you the first signal, this black and yellow wire, which we spliced back together. However, the car still wouldn't start, so I kept looking. Then I went deeper and I found this black and white wire. That again has been spliced and cut. I couldn't find the other end, but I eventually found on the back of the ignition switch the other end of this wire. I don't know where it is in the loom, but it does go to the back of the ignition switch. You can see there's a black and white wire there. We then bridged that with the only tool we had handy, the multimeter on 10 amp mode, which basically turns the multimeter into a nice long link. I had Rai try and start the car and it started straight up. We had the alarm box out, we've completely ignored these other bloody relays, and the car just starts. It's excellent. We're going to splice both the black and yellow and the black and white wire back together. We may in fact ignore these relays entirely and just leave them for now, and then we'll just enjoy the fact that we have a working car. Basically, the key to removing any car alarm is finding which signals have been spliced and putting them back together, at least in these basic 90s sort of units. On the other end of the wire there, so we're going to splice that back to that, black and white one here to black and white one here, and then we'll clean up this black and yellow one and we'll be good to go. Now we need some wire to splice these back together in the car. I've actually brought the old scooter speed controller, which you've seen in my other videos, because this has some nice fat wires that pretty much match what's already in the car. So we're going to use these to basically make up for the butchery done by the alarm installer. Okay, so we have spliced together the black and yellow wire and the black and white wire, admittedly with a yellow piece of wire, just to make it entertaining. Now, car in neutral, we'll try and start it. That is brilliant, and you'll notice that we've actually completely ignored these relays. They're all just sitting there. I reckon these are just for the door locks or something, but the car runs, and that is just truly fantastic. We're gonna put this thing back together, and happy days. Okay, so we got misled in the beginning. We thought it was the relays. I was wrong. What I should have done is look more carefully, realize that all those wires crossing between them means they obviously weren't cutouts. When I finally found the wires that had been spliced into and diverted, we patched those back up, just ignored the relays completely. The car started, it ran. Rai has his car back. How does that make you feel, buddy?
Pretty fucking good.
Awesome. So fundamentally, the things you need to look for when removing any car alarm is spliced signals. Signals that have been cut one side goes to the alarm, the other side goes to the alarm. If you just put them back together, the car will run. So good to have a win like this. It took us just over 3.5 hours to do. Rai has his car back. I'm laying on the ground because my back hurts. Till next time, TK out. All right, here's the success story. Oh, listen to that baby purr. That's fantastic.